Buenas tardes, estamos en Hablemos de Pinball con, para mí, mira, se me ponen los pelos de punta, una de las personas creo que más importantes en el mundo del pinball, hijo de creo que la persona más importante en el mundo del pinball. Zach, bienvenido.
Welcome.
Hola.
Hola.
Como dice Juan Carlos, probablemente tenemos hoy una de las personas más influyentes en el mundo del pinball a día de hoy, ya que aparte de ser subdirector del IFPA o del IFPA, como decimos aquí en España, es el hijo del mítico Roger Sharpe, la persona que siempre se dice que fue la persona que salvó el pinball. Entonces luego hablaremos con él. Explicaros que vamos a hacer solo la entrevista en inglés y luego pondremos los subtítulos, ¿vale? Esta vez no vamos a andar traduciendo, lo haremos directamente todo en inglés.
See you.
Adiós, Juan Carlos. Bye. Zach, thank you for this interview with us. And of course, welcome. For us, it's very important to have somebody like you in this interview. I was telling at the beginning in Spanish that probably you are today one of the most important people in the pinball world, not only because of your work in the IFPA and in a Stern company, also because of your dad is something we have to talk for sure, because everybody knows that your dad is the person who saved the pinball for everybody. So please, the next time you see him, tell him, thank you from Spain, from many people from Spain.
I will tell him later today.
Zach, we're gonna start talking, of course, about your life in pinball. So, having Roger Sharpe like that, what can you tell me about the history of pinball in your family?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a unique story. As everyone knows, my father, Roger, I was literally born into pinball. So there was never a moment in my life that pinball wasn't around me. I mean, when I grew up, there was pinball machines in my bedroom. So I've never had like a moment in my life where pinball was not present. So it's definitely unique from my perspective that I've just always been around pinball.
You say you have a pinball in your bedroom. You're lucky from when you were a child. But what was the first pin you remember in your life?
I would say the first pinball machine that I remember is Jumping Jack or Jack in the Box. It was a 70s Gottlieb EM. In fact, without messing up this, in the far corner there, you can see, in fact, I'll do a little walkover. But this is the 2-player version.
Yeah.
And there was a 4-player version in my bedroom growing up. So that was always one of the more memorable games that, I grew up with playing pinball in my bedroom, along with my brother. I mean, my brother and I shared a room, when we were growing up. So I would say definitely Jack in the Box was like my first memory of a pinball machine.
And at what time, what age do you start to play pinball that you remember?
There are pictures of me as a baby on top of a pinball machine. So even before I started having memories, there's pictures of me in front of a pinball machine.
And how old were you when you started to play tournaments?
That was when I was 12 years old. So for a while, it's a funny story, but our father did not want Josh and I competing in tournaments because he was afraid that we would be, competing against each other and would, not play well, like a sibling rivalry. He was afraid of, the thing that he held dear to his heart, which was pinball. He didn't want that. Oh,
no problem.
That's one of my
dad's calling us to play.
Yeah, that's my dad's name, Cyclops, which is calling us. He didn't want my brother and I getting torn apart by something that he loved. And he was afraid that tournaments would kind of pit us against each other. So after many years of us begging, because at the local Chicago Pinball Expo, we noticed there was little kids playing in a tournament, and he would always pull us away And we just kept asking him year after year, like, can we play? You know, we're pretty good. We always beat our friends. You know, we're always putting up these grand champion scores at the local arcade. Like, can we play in the tournament? And after years of just begging and pleading, he finally let us compete. And we just dominated. And if anything, it grew Josh and my relationship closer. You know, we are our biggest cheerleader. So don't get me wrong, we're competitive. And when we play each other, it's to the death. I want to win. I want to beat him every single time. But if I'm not playing against him, I'm his biggest cheerleader.
And do you remember what was the first tournament you won?
The first tournament was a local Papa qualifying tournament. The Papa World Championships used to be held in New York City, and it was kind of like a qualifier tournament before going to New York. And I think in that tournament, Josh got first and I got second. And then at the local Chicago Pinball Expo, there was different age range tournaments, and I won the 12 and under tournament, as well as the IFPA tournament up in Wisconsin. I won the 12 and under tournament. So those were like my first true tournaments. So
we were talking before we started the interview that you have a really nice collection behind you, but you have ever played Spanish machines?
I think so. I mean, I've definitely played some Spanish machines. Anything in particular?
Maybe, probably the most famous is Canasta 86, but maybe in the USA you have anyone Electromechanics, because there was a company, son of company here in Spain that copied many of Gottlieb or that one. So it means that you have to come to play to Spain.
Yeah, I know.
For sure, you've played many games in all your life because you start too young, and you have the possibility of playing many games. But which one is the Zach's favorite one?
Oh, that's tough because it's like asking what's your favorite meal. It's like I love steak, but I also love pizza. This one keeps chirping at us. Cyclops might be my #1 favorite game of all time. Also, you know, if you're talking about a more recent game, I would say you can kind of see it off here, but Jurassic Park right here.
Yeah.
And Iron Maiden, Avengers, Walking Dead. I mean, it's tough because it depends on what mood you're in when you're playing a game. So it's tough. It's every day my favorite game changes.
It's different, yeah. Normally, you and Josh is his brother, for the people that don't know. You are together in the tournaments, not together always together, but go normally to the same tournaments. Who is better playing and who is better organizing a tournament?
Ooh, organizing, definitely Josh. And if you ask him who's the better player, he will say me. So we'll go with me.
Okay. In your opinion, you've played with many of the best pinball players in the history. Who are the best players you've played?
Oof, I mean, obviously Keith Elwin is probably the greatest pinball player ever. I mean, most decorated.
I have the same opinion for me.
What's that?
I have the same opinion about Keith.
Yeah, I mean, I think Keith is on another level, but I mean, even just growing up and playing against so many players, I mean, Lyman Sheets, I mean, you can't, I mean, he was the original Tommy back in the day. I mean, he would beat everyone, Bowen Cairns. But then you have this new generation. I mean, even in your country, yeah. Julio is incredible. And then you've got
the next question is about Julio.
Yeah, no, Julio is outstanding. I mean, we faced each other in the IFPA World Championships, and I beat him head to head in Germany, but then he beat me head to head in Pittsburgh. So we've got a nice little battle there. But I mean, you've got such a new generation of players that are incredible. Escher Lefkoff, you've got Johannes from Germany, who is
and every day they are younger. because also Paul Engler from Germany,
Yep.
and many of them, they make me feel too old to play this game.
Same here. I just see them climbing the ranks as I'm dropping, and it's just like, oof, it's tough.
And normally, like today, you are with a cap or sometimes with a hat. Why do you use hat or cap to play the tournaments? Like an amulet?
No, I've always been. I mean, I was always in sports, so baseball, and I don't know. I've always been a hat person. Josh, not as much, and I've just always worn hats. And sorry, yeah. And now that I work at Stern, I get these nice new Stern hats, so it's easy just to keep wearing them. But yeah, not to like guard light or anything. I'm a hat guy.
And it's not too hot to play in the summer tournaments?
No.
So it's okay. Yeah. When you are a good player, doesn't care the hat or the cap. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just take it off and wipe my forehead with the forearm. But no, I've always been a hat person.
Now that Stern is selling many pins, also another companies like Spooky Pinball, Pinball Brothers now with Alien, Jersey Jack, of course, they are growing up. How do you see the future of the pinball?
Brighter and bigger than ever. I mean, the year-over-year growth of, I'm sure, all companies. I mean, pinball has never been more popular as it is today. I mean, outside of the early, 70s and even some of the early 90s, I mean, pinball is just blowing up all over the world, and I see no signs of slowing down.
Like you said a couple of minutes ago, now you are working in a Stern company. Can you explain how did you arrive to Stern, and what is your job there?
I am the director of marketing, and you could say it's kind of a dream job. So I went to school for advertising and marketing, and I used to work at agencies, international marketing agencies, and I was approached by Stern to see if I was interested in becoming their director of marketing. So it was kind of marrying two passions of mine, which is, marketing and pinball. So I get to do that now for Stern.
So were you who offered to Stern?
Yeah, they approached me and we discussed, and they, ironically, I turned it down at first. This was maybe 10 years ago. I was at a trade show because Josh and I used to do some freelance writing for a trade publication called Playmeter Magazine. So we would always go to the Stern booth, and I've known Gary, George Gomez, everyone that works at Stern throughout the decades forever, because I've always just been a part of pinball. And John Buscaglia, who's the chief revenue officer, he approached me at one of the trade shows. Is like, Zach, how would you like to work in pinball? And I was really happy at the agency I worked at. So my mind just never really clicked with me working in pinball. I wanted to get Stern as a client because, we work with Fortune 500 companies all over the world doing marketing and advertising for them. So my brain worked in a way of, I want Stern as a client, not me working at Stern, if that makes sense. So I kind of laughed it off. I'm like, no, I'm good. I like my job right now. And then it planted the seed, though, because I talked with Josh afterwards. I'm like, I don't know if John was joking or not, but it's like, what if I did work in pinball? And then you fast forward, I think it was 4 years after that conversation, I always told myself, if he ever asked me again, if I was interested in working in pinball, I would say yes. And, 4 years later, he asked me that same question, Zach, any interest in working in pinball? I'm like, let's talk.
Of course.
Yep, let's talk.
So you are lucky because you are working in something you really enjoy with it.
Yeah.
Would you like to, because you work, your job is the marketing area, but would you like to create a pinball?
No, I mean, I've got ideas, and I'll share it with designers, internally at Stern. But in terms of, physically creating a pinball machine, I really don't have a desire. And more specifically, the knowledge. I mean, there's so much stuff that you don't think of. I mean, I think a lot of people conceptualize what's above the play field, but really the heart of a pinball machine design is under the play field, because you have components that you might think, oh, it'd be really cool to have this shot along with this device, but underneath it's not physically possible because you've got intersecting wires and connectors, and it's like, yeah, that will never work. You know, that like my brain just can't wrap around that, and I don't know, you know, AutoCAD and everything. So I would say I'm a good critic, but not necessarily a designer.
Yeah, to check it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can choose a new term for a people, which would you choose? Many people talk about Harry Potter and many different things. Which one do you prefer?
I can't say. Who's to say that we're not? Who's to say we're not working on it right now?
I had to try.
I know.
I said to you before, but you've been in different parts of Europe. I was playing with you in Italy 2 years ago in the last World Championship. But would you like to come to play to Spain? You know any of our tournaments?
Oh, I would love to. I don't know when I would be able to go out there for a tournament, but I love competing outside of the United States because I'm able to travel and see parts of the world that I never get to see.
Okay, we wait for you.
I will let you know.
Some weeks ago, we have an interview with Jack Langer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about these streamers or YouTubers dedicated only about pinball? Do you think it can help pinball to grow up?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's incredible what Jack has done. And, you know, there's so many new streamers now that just help create visibility and awareness of pinball to completely new audiences. So, I mean, just yesterday, there's a famous streamer named Shroud, which, you know, I'm not very knowledgeable in the video game streaming world, but he's like one of the top streamers with millions of followers. And he was casually dropping Jack's name in his Dead Flip channel, just saying, hey, you know, I would love for you guys to check out Dead Flip's channel. You know, he just plays pinball, and I would love for him to teach me. And, you know, they're corresponding on social media. And this guy has millions of followers that I'm sure many don't even know what pinball is. And if you take 10% of those million followers, you're going to have, you know, tens of thousands of new people, you know, drawing their eyeballs to pinball. And with every new, you know, game launch that Stern has, you know, we're getting new fans that way as well. So you've got, you know, The Mandalorian, which is, you know, the biggest streaming show in the world, or Stranger Things. You're just getting new people introduced to pinball. So it's just year over year, like I said, bigger and better.
Yep. When we had the interview with Jack, I said to him, Jack, don't be nervous. We have 50 people watching our program.
Yeah. And most of them are my family members. So hi, family.
In the future, do you think will be possible a pinball tournament, watching on TV, or is only by in internet?
I don't see why not. Both. I mean, like I said, the future is bigger and brighter, and as pinball becomes more popular, I can certainly see pinball on ESPN, no doubt.
I wait. I hope so. In our program in Pinball Television, we have a section called Playing Pinball, right? Where we play some of the best games in the big tournaments, and another person and me, we talk about the game, we explain the game, we explain the rules, we talk about what the players are doing. And we started maybe 2 months ago with this new section. And we start, of course, with the game of the last World Championship between Daniele Acciari and Johannes Ostermeyer in Dracula, the final. You were there, me was there, and it was great. Do you think it's probably the best game you've ever seen?
Without a doubt. I mean, that was with everything, with the malfunction at the beginning of the game, the stakes with it being, the ninth game, everything leading up to it, their tie game on a previous game. I mean, the whole match was incredible, but to cap it with that comeback on that playing Dracula, because I played that game during the World Championships, and I barely broke 200 million. So, when Johannes goes up to ball 3 at under 10 million, it's like, oh, he's toast. Daniele, he won the championship. And for him to just claw his way back in that fashion, I mean, incredible, especially when you have other world championships in the commentating booth losing their minds. You've got Raymond Davidson, who won the previous 2 years. You've got Kaylee George, Escher Lefkoff. They're no strangers to winning big games in big moments. And all of them were losing their minds. It was incredible.
Yeah, it's true. We also did an interview to Johannes because Johannes is a good friend because he's studying Spanish and he always comes to me to speak Spanish in all the tournaments. And we did the interview in Spanish, and he said that he has probably seen that game many, many times. And in every time he see the game, he finds something different. I was not thinking about the game. I only thought, if Daniel did it, I can do it.
Yep.
Johannes, not easy.
And I'm sure he was like, yeah, I probably missed a shot there. He's probably getting even better after watching that, which is scary.
And do you remember another games like that you recommended to us to play in our next program to comment it?
In terms of just playing pinball machine, or like to watch a tournament game?
Yeah, in any tournament that you remember, that game was fantastic. Last week we did it in the last game in the World Championship in 2017 in Denmark with Kelly George and Raymond Davison, the last game in World Cup Soccer, something like that. Do you remember anyone?
I will say this: it's there's two games that I would recommend. One that is my worst moment in competitive history, which was the IFPA. I'm trying to remember. I can look at my trophies. Which it was May of 2013, so it was IFPA 10 in Germany. It was game 9, and I faced Jörgen Holm from Sweden. And the final deciding game was on Harlem Globetrotters. So you talk about pressure-packed, tap passes and trying to, come back from a big deficit. I won't give away the ending, but I didn't win, but it was very exciting nonetheless. But then another, probably my most shining moment was the first Pinburg at Replay FX, where I faced Raymond Davidson on a tiebreaker on Iron Man for the championship. And that was a better day. So
yeah, we will check it to play that games and to call your game.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about if you have pinball machines at home, but of course we can see you have anyone. How many pins do you have at home?
I've got, let me count, 1, 2. I have 8.
8. Can you tell us which games you have? If you want, you can show us.
Yeah. So I didn't turn them on, but down here I've got that jumping jack. It's a 2-player version of the Gottlieb game. I've got the newest Avengers, Walking Dead Premium, Iron Maiden Premium, Classic Frontier, and then a couple of my dad games, Cyclops and Sharpshooter, and then Jurassic Park. And then just really quickly, since I have my computer mobile, I've got my my trophy wall.
You need a room only for the trophy, yeah?
Yep. Yep.
That's nice. Zach, is there any pin you always want to have it and you never get it?
No, I mean, I would say it was Cyclops. There was only 400 made, and my dad obviously owns one. Josh owns one, and for the longest time, they never come up for sale anywhere. And there was a local. It was a state over, but it was like 20 years ago or 15 years ago. One popped up for sale, which never happens, and I jumped on it. So that was my grail pin that I was looking for, and I got it. So.
Okay. And now one question that everybody wants to know. When do you think big tournaments will be back?
I mean, they've been happening. I know every, country in the world is, different right now with, vaccination rollouts and just restrictions on gatherings. But I mean, I definitely see, the trend going in the right direction, fingers crossed. But I know the IFPA is going to start sanctioning events next week, August 1st. So I think from that standard, more tournaments are going to start coming about. So I think, it really depends on where you live. But, tournaments are, still going on in places in the world that they can. So my hopes are, next year, the year of 2022, all over the world, there's no issues with tournaments being held anywhere.
I hope so.
So big fingers crossed.
Okay, Zach, now for finishing, I'm going to make you some fast questions, okay? So you have to say the first thing come to your head. Be careful. Remember, you are working with a Stern.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, first question. Classic or modern pinball?
Depends, but modern.
Modern. Stern or Williams Valley?
Stern.
Medieval Madness or Monster Rush?
What was that? Sorry, you broke up there.
Sorry?
Oh, you kind of broke up there. I didn't hear. You said something or Monster Rush?
Or Medieval Madness?
Medieval Madness.
Guns N' Roses, Data East or Jersey Jack Pinball?
I haven't played the Jersey Jack yet, so I have to go with the Data East, but my mind could change.
Okay, and same question with Pirates of the Caribbean, Stern or Jersey Jack?
You know what? I really haven't played the Jersey Jack, so I have to go with the Stern one. But again, my mind could change if I play it.
And now this question is not going to be easy because it's one of my dreams. Papa or Pinball?
Papa or Pinburg? Oh, that's tough.
I know.
I would say for enjoyment, Pinburg, just because I love the format of that tournament more. For prestige and just sheer accomplishment, Papa. So it's a dual answer.
And of course, when added together, Papa and World Championship, that had to be great, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you prefer, play a tournament or organize it?
Play.
You play. In a final, you can choose your position. You prefer second, third, or fourth?
As late as possible. Fourth.
Face-to-face or high-score tournament?
Face-to-face.
Face-to-face. And the last one, future of pinball is in collectors or on the street?
Both.
Or is the best one?
Everyone.
Okay, Zach, I hope the interview was not difficult.
No, it was great.
I hope you enjoy with us like I'm enjoying with all you can take to us. Now Juan Carlos is back. Look his smile when we talk about pinball with somebody like you. Juan Carlos, what do you think about the interview? ¿Qué piensas?
Me ha encantado, totalmente. Le voy a enseñar una foto de una española, Dragon, de Recreativo Franco.
Oh, yeah.
Spanish Pinball.
Yep.
Yes. In the flipper. Oh,
The whole video flippers is too big, is quite big, and then it's open in the old lanes. If you stop the ball, you catch the ball and you run, it goes also to the out lane. In this game, in 2012, the final in the European tournament in Spain, the classic final was in this game. And people like Jörg Holm, you talked about him before, when he wanted to stop the ball on the ball run and go out lane, he was like, this is not possible, not possible. And he was really angry with this game.
Oh, yeah.
Una cosa que ayer lo comentaste tú en el programa era lo bonito que era el trofeo de campeón del mundo. Dile quién tuvo la idea de ese bonito trofeo.
Yeah, in the program we did yesterday, when we were watching the video of Kelly George and Raymond Davison, we were talking about that the World Champions, the trophy, is fantastic. Yeah, it's really, really nice with all the flags around. And who has the idea of that tournament?
Josh.
Josh.
Because
Josh is his brother, and he's the president of IFPA.
Yeah, and that was just he dreamed that up. He wanted to test the player. He wanted whoever that won that tournament, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. They deserved to be that world champion. So, you have to survive the match play, qualifying portion. And then when it gets to a head-to-head bracket and you just kind of go through all of the top players in the world, there's no question whoever is at the very end holding the trophy, they deserved it.
When I watched it directly in Italy, I said, oh, I need one of these. Even I have to pay for it.
Hay otra cosa que quería preguntarle. Hemos animado a los compañeros de IFPA Argentina a crearla, ¿vale? Pero ¿cuántos países están inscritos en IFPA?
Yeah, Zach, we have been helping the people from Argentina to create IFPA Argentina. That they did it some months ago. Do you know how many countries there is in the IFPA?
I think it might be up to 30 or more. I don't know, but it's over 20.
Más de entre 20 y 30, around 20 or 30, between 20 and 30.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Me ha encantado la entrevista. Es fantástico conocerte. Te comenté por correo electrónico que sí que me gustaría que nos echaras una mano con See You Soon in Pinball Television, All Player Pinball or Your Father, all people of Pinball.
Wait, Juan Carlos, I translated. Your English is better than my Spanish.
It's a good, ¿cómo se llama? Es por una buena causa, ¿no? Lo que estamos montando.
It would be very important for us if you have all the people you have around you, people from the pinball, best of the players of the world, like your dad, your brother. If they can make a short video only saying "See you soon" in pinball television, for us will be very, very important.
I will definitely forward it on.
Thank you very much, Zach.
Y otra cosa, bueno, varias cosas. Es que está el director de marketing de Esther, que aquí en los torneos españoles no vemos marketing de Esther.
Yeah, it's something we've talked many times when we see the Stern Army or something like that. When you prepare something with Stern to the tournaments, we are no lucky because the person that brings the Stern to Spain is not very fan of pinball, probably. Mm-hmm. And we have marketing in a Spanish tournament about the Stern. Juan Carlos is the director of one Spanish tournament in VR. I'm the director of another tournament in Salamanca. So we would like you fight with the Spanish person to help us with the tournament with the Stern.
Definitely. When you get your tournament set up, send me an email and I'll connect you with my colleague for Stern Army support.
Thank you very much, Zach. That's very important for us.
Bueno, y otra cosa, yo por pedir es que tengo que pedir. Sí que me gustaría que nos echaras, bueno, me gustaría también que igual como estamos ayudando a mucha gente, en una próxima entrevista, en el próximo lanzamiento de la máquina de Keith Elwin, que dicen que es buenísima, lo dijo George Gómez, era un maquinón, que a ver si la podemos comentar después de que salga, si se apunta un día a comentar la máquina.
Yeah, when we were talking with George Gómez, we had an interview also with him. He said to us that the next game of Keith Elwin is going to be great, really, really great. It's going to be one of the best pinball ever. And Juan Carlos say if it's possible when these games appear in the USA, after your presentation, of course, if we would like you find one day 20-25 minutes to comment the pinball with us.
Okay. Whenever it comes out, I don't know when, but whenever it comes out and you want to talk again, I'd be more than happy.
Juan Carlos, I'm going to say him also, he has to send 2 of that game, one for you and one for me.
Yeah. And one, you know what? One for my basement. It'll go.
Yeah, one more. So you need to
right over here. Right
here. You have the space ready.
Yeah.
Dile que lleve cuidado con el fontanero. Hay una plumber. Careful with plumber. In the basement of Jack Danger is a problem with plumber.
Oh. I've got a good sub pump. I'm good.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, de corazón.
Really, thank you. I'm really happy to talk with you again, and I hope to see you soon in any tournament.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
All right. Take care, guys.